I never expected to find love letters in the library, but the truth shattered my world when I opened that ancient book and found a treasure hidden between the yellowed pages. I remember the moment with perfect clarity. The library was silent, shadows creeping along the rows of books like secrets just waiting to be discovered. I was searching for a novel, any escape from my mundane life, when something caught my eye. A slight shimmer, a glimpse of soft paper tucked away in the spine. My heart raced. I had no idea what I was about to uncover. I pulled the book closer. My fingers trembled as I reached for the letters, aged and fragile. The first one was written in elegant cursive. The words seemed to dance off the page, filled with longing and forbidden love. I could almost hear the heartbeat of the writer, feel the weight of their feelings. My breath quickened, excitement mingling with dread. Who were they? What happened to them? As I unfolded more notes, one after the other, the air grew thick with emotion. Each letter dripped with passion and heartache, ink smudged as if tears had fallen onto the pages. I was losing myself in their story, it wrapped around me like a dark blanket. The letters spoke of a love that was never meant to be betrayal, sacrifice, secrets. I could feel the energy shift within the library, the spine-tingling sensation of being watched. It was just me, the letters, and the mysteries they held. As I struggled to absorb it all, I thought of my own life. A broken relationship, a family too shattered to pick up the pieces. Had I been living in a bubble, blind to the joys of love and the pain that often followed? My heart ached for the lost souls behind those words. I was suddenly desperate to know what came next. I yearned to know their fate. And then, as if the universe was mocking my anticipation, a loud crash echoed from behind me. I jumped, every nerve ending sparked with fear. My heart pounded like a drum. I turned, and standing there was the librarian, her eyes wide with shock, fingers poised over her mouth. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered, her voice a mix of disapproval and urgency. I felt a rush of panic. What had I stumbled upon? She stepped forward, her expression shifting from dismay to something softer, almost compassionate. "You need to leave. Now." The letters slipped from my fingers, floating to the ground. I couldn't breathe. A churning storm brewed inside me as I realized the danger of what I'd uncovered. What kind of history had I tapped into? What secret lay just beneath the surface? I looked at the letters scattered on the floor, the truth of them weighing heavily in the air. I was on the edge of a precipice, and the fall promised to be both exhilarating and terrifying. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The librarian's urgency broke the world I had momentarily inhabited, the cocoon of letters and emotions unraveling in an instant. My fingers brushed the edges of the letters scattered around me, each whispering half-told stories of hearts entwined yet torn apart. "Please," I pleaded, my voice shaking, "what are these letters? Who wrote them? What happened?" Her demeanor softened, but there was no warmth in her gaze, only the ember of knowledge carefully guarded. "You shouldn't be here," she repeated, backing away slowly, as if every word posed a risk. "Some stories are not meant to be uncovered." A chill ran down my spine, but the fervor within me ignited, and I found myself pressing on. "But why?" I questioned, desperation lacing my tone. "Is it dangerous to know? Are these people, are they still alive?" Just then, the library's clock chimed, the echoes bouncing against the walls, reminding us both of the passage of time. I barely registered that the librarian was already edging toward the door, preparing to leave me locked in this small world of secrets. "If you value your peace," she cautioned, her voice almost a tremor, "You will forget these letters," and before I could respond, she slipped away, swallowed by the shadows the books cast. The silence that reigned was oppressive, broken only by the onset of my rapid heartbeat and the faint rustle of the letters settling on the ground. A quiet resolve built within me, fueled by the weight of what I had found, that I bent down, my fingers trembling again as they brushed over the letters. The ink remained vivid and alive to me, begging for acknowledgement. I let out a slow breath and began to reorder the letters, an act that felt both trivial and essential. The first letter spoke of a summer romance marred by family feuds and whispered opinions that echoed long after the sun had set. As I read, I became lost in the imagery, the scent of blooming wildflowers, laughter intertwining with the sadness of knowing love could only be a fleeting moment. It felt all too familiar, a reflection of my own yearnings and fears. But as I reached the second letter, something unexpected happened. A small, folded piece of paper slipped out from beneath the larger notes, crumpled to the point of appearing neglected but still holding an allure that drew me in. My hands shook as I gently smoothed it out. The handwriting was different, looser and more chaotic. It read, "Find me. The truth lies within the pages, but it is darker than it seems. Trust no one." A cold sensation gripped my heart, and I felt the room spin slightly as though the books themselves had exhaled. Who had written this? Was it a warning or an invitation? The disarray of my emotions began to blend with a sense of purpose. I had to know more. I pushed myself to put the letters back in their temporary resting place, intent on uncovering every secret this library was trying to hide. With each step towards the front desk, a strange sense of hope bloomed within me. Perhaps, amidst the danger lurking in these pages, I could find some solace, an answer to my own tangled threads of love and loss. The night darkened outside, making the library install an air of mystery. As I exited, I noticed an old, worn-out key hanging on a hook behind the desk, the kind that promised unlocked doors. My heart raced, torn between lingering curiosity and the unwavering sense that I was stepping into a web of complexity that would pull me deeper into my own uncharted territory. Just as I turned to make my way out, an eerie stillness filled the air, and I felt a presence behind me. My pulse quickened again, my instincts flaring. Was it the librarian returning, or something more? I steadied my breath, my heart a relentless drum, waiting for whatever truth awaited, a moment that would shift everything I thought I knew once again. In that charged silence, an unexpected voice broke through. "Did you find what you were looking for?" It was a man, cloaked in shadows, his features obscured but his tone rich with intrigue. The words hung between us like a fragile truce, and in that moment, every choice I had made twisted into something unrecognizable, morphing my journey of discovery into an unforeseen confrontation. I never expected to find love letters in the library, but the truth shattered my world when, "Who are you?" I managed to stammer, my curiosity now mingled with apprehension. The stranger stepped into a slant of moonlight, revealing sharp features framed by unruly dark hair. His eyes, a melange of warmth and storm, studied me intently, as if he were weighing the very essence of my being. "I'm someone who knows what you've found," he said, his voice low and gravelly, like the rustle of paper that had weathered too many storms. "And I can help you understand it." A whirlwind of thoughts spun in my mind, ranging from disbelief to a flicker of hope. Help? Did I want help? Memories crashed against the shores of my consciousness, loneliness, a longing for connection, a desperate need to piece together the fragments of my own story. And yet, this man, with his air of mystery and secrets of his own, could easily become a torrent that swept me away from the haven I was trying to create. "Wait," I breathed, holding up my hand. "How do you know about the letters?" "The library has a soul," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "And it whispers secrets to those who listen. You, my dear, are one of those rare listeners." The weight of his words settled over me, a cloak of intrigue that both chilled and exhilarated. I was about to inquire further when the echo of footsteps disrupted the moment. The librarian was back, her presence casting a shadow over our budding exchange. Her narrowed eyes reflected both recognition and warning, and in that instant, the tension thickened palpably. "What are you doing here?" she asked the man, her voice clipped and authoritative. You shouldn't be here. Neither should you, he replied coolly, without flinching. Enough, I interrupted, confusion clawing at my heart. Was this a confrontation I had inadvertently stumbled upon? The deep connection to those letters gave way to a deeper intrigue, something conflicted about these two personalities in my life. Please, I implored, desperation seeping into my voice, what is going on? Who are you both, and what is the truth hidden here? The librarian took a deliberate step toward me, her expression softening just a fraction. There are stories, she began, truths that will change you and take you to places you're not ready to face. I tried to protect you from unearthing them, and who are you to decide what I'm ready for? I countered, emboldened by a newfound determination. What I've found speaks to me, it stirs something deep within. I deserve to know, the man smiled a brief flash of warmth in an otherwise stormy demeanor. That spirit, that yearning, it can carry you forward, or shatter you into pieces you can't gather again. But if you choose to delve deeper, we should do so together. His words resonated with me, tugging at the strings of a long-buried desire for companionship and understanding. Yet the librarian shook her head, pain etching her features. You cannot trust him. This is not a game. He knows the risks as well as the rewards, but the truth can be far more harrowing than you wish to know. What do you mean? I pressed, hoping for clarity amidst the encroaching fog of uncertainty. What is the truth? Before another answer could escape, the lights flickered momentarily, plunging us into shadows and further thickening the air with tension. I felt the embrace of anxiety as the world around us shifted, that familiar flutter in my chest re-emerging. Then, the moment passed as quickly as it had arrived. The man took a step toward me, his eyes pleading for understanding. It's not just about the letters, it's about a much greater story, a connection that spans time, where love and betrayal wove a tapestry no one can fully comprehend. I found myself entranced, caught in his narrative web, even as a part of me cried out for caution. I was drawn to him in a way I hadn't anticipated, but my pulse raced not only from curiosity but fear of the unknown. What if this journey led to a revelation that would change everything I cherished, leaving me raw and exposed? The librarian's expression shadowed with worry. Intensified as she touched my arm lightly. You mustn't lose yourself in someone else's story. It could cost you everything. In that charged moment, I felt the enormity of my choices hanging precariously in the balance. The man's gaze held a flicker of sorrow mixed with determination, creating a tempest of emotion between us. Will you step into the darkness of a story that may swallow you whole? He asked, softly, yet with a fervent challenge that my heart raced, splintering into countless possibilities, as I faced the looming decisions that danced before me. Shadows whispered promises and dangers, while two worlds beckoned for my embrace, one of safety and familiarity, and the other laden with adventure and potential heartbreak. Fueled by an intoxicating mixture of fear and longing, I opened my mouth to deliver the only answer I could muster, but the words caught in my throat as the library's clock struck again, louder this time, shaking the very foundation of my resolve, leaving me suspended in uncertainty. Suddenly, the power flickered, plunging us back into darkness entirely, one chilling phrase echoing in the void: the truth lies within the pages. And as the shadows enveloped us, I could have sworn I heard a distant voice, familiar yet haunting, whisper from the depths of the library, "Find me." The darkness held its breath, a thick shroud around us, as I waded through uncertainty. The flickering lights had served as a harbinger, amplifying my dread, and in that moment, the library transformed into a labyrinth of shadows, each corner concealing secrets worth unearthing, yet perilously dangerous to embrace. "Is anyone hurt?" I called out, my voice wavering as I felt my pulse quicken. The absence of light heightened my senses, drawing my attention to the slight rustle of pages and the shuffle of feet. "Please, we need to get out of here," I urged, my conviction faltering in the overwhelming tension. "It's not safe," the librarian's voice cut through the darkness, bringing with it a grounding presence. "Stay close to me." "Stay close?" echoed the man the library had drawn from shadows. "She shouldn't have to hide behind you. This is her journey, she deserves to decide her own path." In the dark, I felt the weight of their conflict seep into my bones. My heart beat a chaotic rhythm of fear and yearning, a melody of vulnerability intensified by hidden vulnerabilities. I wanted to know what lay behind the veil of shadows. Hopefully, a sliver of light remained, something to guide me forward and illuminate the truth. Can we just focus on finding a way out? I suggested, attempting to rein in the spiraling emotions. We can talk later, but before the librarian could respond, the darkness around us shifted, almost as if a pulse of energy had surged through the library. I felt it tugging at my being, beckoning me toward the heart of whatever was hidden. The man stepped closer, his breath warm against the chill in the air. What if there's a way to find that truth now? What if, together, we can uncover everything concealed in this darkness? The mere notion sent a shiver through me, intertwining with my longing for connection and my desperation to pull away from the shadow's embrace. But what if I'm not ready? I countered, my voice breaking as the walls of my guarded heart quaked. What if the truth shatters me? The only thing more devastating than the truth is to live without knowing. I won't let you fall. His conviction was unwavering, a promise that tethered me to him, even amidst my doubt. The librarian sighed, her breath visible in the frigid air. You think that by revealing the truth you're protecting her, but you're only drawing her closer into a web of complexities that could lead to heartache. Or to clarity, he shot back, his tone piercing through the heaviness. She has to choose. Will you trust yourself enough to embark on this journey? A sudden crash reverberated through the library, vibrating the floor beneath us. My heart soared into my throat as I realized one of the heavy bookshelves had tipped precariously, sending books tumbling like fallen soldiers. In that moment of chaos, the reality of our predicament morphed. I sensed that perhaps this turmoil was a precursor to revelation. Follow me, the man urged, and without fully understanding why, I found my feet moving toward him. As we ventured deeper past the barricade of books, a distant light flickered, illuminating an old desk that seemed untouched by time. The aura enveloped it like a sanctuary amidst the shambles, and it pulled me forward, craving the light long hidden beneath layers of dust and neglect. But when we reached the desk, I froze, my eyes wide as they fell upon an ancient leather-bound book, its spine cracked and pages yellowed with age. A whisper of familiarity grazed my senses, as though the object was a living entity waiting to be unlocked. I can't keep running away, I murmured, more to myself than to them. Open it, the man urged quietly but firmly, his presence a steady anchor beside me. My fingers trembled as I reached for the book, feeling the weight of destiny in my palms. A tingling sensation enveloped me as I carefully pulled it closer, tilting it toward the dim light. The pages seemed to flutter open, revealing ink etched in a delicate script, love letters entwined with promises and tragic endings, but my heart lurched at the sight. Every word was familiar, etching itself into the crevices of my memory like a long-lost melody. These are the letters, I breathed, overwhelmed by the collective surge of emotion they conjured. But just as the full realization washed over me, a loud scream pierced the stillness of the library, echoing off the walls with a haunting familiarity, one that made my stomach twist and my heart plummet into an abyss of dread. The librarian's eyes widened in horror, her face drained of color. No, it can't be, she whispered. The man grabbed my arm, his grip fierce yet protective. We need to leave now. What happened? What was that? I gasped, terror pounding within me, and the unfolding mystery felt more ominous than I had anticipated. A shredding revelation loomed on the horizon, bright yet tainted by darkness. I could feel it, coiling around us like a serpent, threatening to squeeze the very life out of any hopes I had sewn together. As we turned to flee into the heart of the library, I felt the echo of those love letters binding our fates together, the truth lurking just out of reach, waiting to be unleashed in the wake of revelations that could unravel us all. And as the screams resonated again, closer this time, closer, I wondered if we would emerge shattered or whole, or if we would be changed forever by what we would uncover, in the depths of the library that contained our very souls. The air crackled with a thick tension as we moved through the aisles of the library, the shadows seeming to deepen with each hurried step. I could still hear the echo of that scream, reverberating in my mind like a taunt, a promise of chaos yet to come. Each step felt like wading through a deluge of uncertainty, the light from the desk fading behind us as we plunged deeper into the labyrinth. Why are they screaming? I gasped, barely able to keep pace with the man beside me, his grip on my arm a tether to sanity. What are we running from? It's better if you don't know yet, he replied, eyes flickering with unease. Trust me, we need to get to a safe space before we reveal anything. The librarian walked ahead, her urgency palpable. They're drawn to the knowledge, she muttered, almost to herself. You shouldn't have opened the book, it's a beacon. A beacon? My heart raced, its relentless cadence merging with the distant cries that echoed louder now, almost as if the library itself were waning beneath the weight of the past stirring awake. What kind of knowledge? Knowledge best left undisturbed. She cast a glance back at me, her eyes darkened by worry. We're not the first to search for truths hidden in these tomes. Every seeker has left their mark, some more than others. I and the scattered echo of footsteps and whispers of pages turning, I could feel the weight of her words settle on my chest, a crushing reminder that I was entangled in something far greater than my own fears. But those letters, they felt meant for me, I insisted, my voice trembling. How could something so beautiful be dangerous? Beauty can blind us, the man interjected softly, his gaze steady but conflicted as he looked back at me. There's always a cost to pursuing what was lost. The sharp edge of his tone cut deeper than I expected, stirring a bitterness within me. Maybe I deserve to know. Or are you worried that the truth might shatter me more than it shatters your illusion of control? But before he could respond, a crash echoed behind us, and I turned to see a bookcase topple, the sound a harbinger of chaos. My instinct screamed at me to flee, but something held me captive. The allure of the truth buried in those love letters was too exquisite to abandon. We can't go back now, the librarian shouted as she ushered us toward a dimly lit alcove. In here, as we ducked into the space, darkness enveloped us like a cloak, muffling the chaos lurking outside. The faint glow from a candle illuminated her face, revealing her anxiety was just as palpable as my own. What is it? I pressed, my curiosity clawing against fear. What does that scream mean for us? It could mean we have little time left, she said, her voice low, laced with urgency. That scream was not just a warning, it's a summons. It's calling those who seek to reveal the buried truths. My heart dropped at her words. This was an invitation into a deeper abyss. You can't possibly mean that whoever is screaming wants to pull me into whatever this is. I don't know if I can face it. Then don't. The man shot back, frustration etched into his features. But we can't stay hidden here either. Those who were lost in the library seek to reclaim what's theirs, and they will not stop until they find it. A chill crept along my spine as I absorbed his warning. What exactly were we dealing with? The shadows felt alive around us, and I could almost hear whispers woven through the air, secrets trading places at the edge of my perception. Above all, you must remember, the librarian said softly, her gaze piercing. Not all truths are meant to be uncovered. Some memories are chains, painful, binding chains. In that moment of tense silence, the flicker of the candlelight illuminated a picture hanging crookedly on the wall, the image of a young couple, their faces frozen in a moment of shared joy. The resemblance to me, the man beside me, was uncanny, a primal fear igniting deep within me. Who are they? I whispered, voice trembling. The librarian stepped closer, her eyes widening. Fat Hat's part of the truth. It connects you to the library and the stories trapped within. But unearthing their story could have devastating repercussions. Before I could question her further, the candle flickered violently, casting monstrous shadows that danced along the walls. A palpable energy surged, winding around us like a tempest. The screams intertwined with the rustle of fading pages, growing nearer, echoing in sync with my heart as I fought an oncoming swell of panic. We need to get out. Now. The man urged, and together we surged back into the fray. But as we broke free from the confines of shadows, my heart froze, the once still air now buzzed with unsettling energy. A figure stood at the entrance, shrouded in darkness. My breath caught in my throat as the figure stepped into the light, revealing a familiar face distorted by anguish and longing. "Help me," they cried, their voice intertwining with my thoughts. In that moment, the library around me faded, and a solitary realization settled like lead in my chest. The truth I sought was closer than I had dared imagine, and with it came the possibility of loss that could ripple through not just my life but the lives of those I loved. The air grew thick with tension, a silence looming as the figure inched closer, their features coming into sharper focus amidst the flickering candlelight. Recognition stabbed at the heart of my confusion, the lines of their face blurring with memories I had long since buried. I would have sworn it was a cruel mirage, a specter conjured by my own fears, but the voicey voice I had listened to countless times in dreams wrapped around me like a suffocating embrace. "Lila?" My lips formed the name without conscious thought, a desperate thread linking me to the person before me. "Please, you have to help me," Lila begged, her eyes wide with terror. They shimmered with a sorrow that mirrored the crack in my own heart wherever I dared to glance. "They're coming for me, for us, Lila. What happened?" My voice trembled, desperation clawing at the walls I had so meticulously constructed around my mind. "How did you find your way here? Too don't remember. I just felt drawn to this place." Her words trailed off, leaving the air thick with unspoken implications. "It's the letters. They're connected to something darker, something I didn't comprehend until it was too late." All at once, the memories flooded back, the seemingly innocent conversations, the lingering laughter beneath the pale moonlight, and the unyielding promise of love that now felt laced with treachery. We had spoken of secrets, of unlocking the depth of our souls through the written word, but I hadn't considered the costs. "The letters," I murmured. "Are they the reason for this chaos?" The man beside me shifted uncomfortably, his demeanor turning wary. "Do you trust her?" he asked, voice low. "Trust her?" I shot back, my heart racing. "I don't even know if she's really here. Or if this is some kind of trick. How could Lila even be?" "It doesn't matter," Lila interrupted, her voice sharpening with urgency. "What matters is I feel their presence, the shadows that lurk beyond. And they're not just here for the knowledge, they want to reclaim what was theirs." Fear coiled tightly around my chest. The librarian's words echoed in my head, "Not all truths are meant to be uncovered." And yet, Lila's plight whispered promises of solace that entailed heart-wrenching sacrifices. My heart burned with unresolved longings, a tumult of love and sorrow flooding my senses. No. "We can't stay here," the man asserted, putting an arm out as if to shield me from the chaos threatening to consume us. "If they sense your connection, we're all in danger. We have to find a way out now, but I can't leave her." My voice cracked, a volatile mixture of love, fear, and anger surging within me. "What if she needs me? She's not the same girl you once knew," he pressed. "Whatever darkness has ensnared her has already taken a toll. You can't save everyone. Sometimes, you have to prioritize your escape." His words felt like icy daggers plunging through my resolve, and I could feel the unity we had built in that dire moment beginning to splinter. "You can't mean that," I whispered, torn between the man whose warmth promised safety and the ghost of a past I could barely summon but could never truly abandon. In that moment, the candles flickered violently as if answering my inner turmoil. The shadows that lined the walls began to coalesce, stretching and morphing into grotesque forms, petty fears given shape, threats that had once loomed over my life manifesting into something dangerously real. "Run!" The librarian's voice broke through the din, snapping my thoughts back into reality. "They're here." The ground quaked with resonance as more figures emerged from the shadows, lost souls, twisted versions of those I once knew. They reached out with longing faces, whispering secrets that swirled around me like a storm. "You opened the door, it's time to pay the price." They howled in unison, their voices rising like a monstrous crescendo, stinging my ears and igniting panic in my heart. "Lila!" I screamed, my fingers stretching toward her, desperate to grasp hold of the familiar only to feel the creeping dread of reality's harsh grip squeezing around my heart. "Stay with me. Don't let them take you." Her expression was etched with a haunting blend of fear and resolve, a dark truth shimmering in her eyes. I'm so sorry, but they're calling me. I can't resist. As she trembled, the others lunged forward, their faces shifting into shadows that swallowed all light, eyes vacant yet alive with hunger. In a moment that felt like an eternity, Lila turned away, stepping back into the darkness that beckoned to her, and I felt the connection me soul tearing, fracturing beneath the weight of my choice. No. I lunged forward, but the shadows had other plans. They enveloped her, pulling her deeper into the abyss as the screams around me swelled in furious harmony, an invitation and a curse that I stood frozen, the world spinning around me, drowning in regret and fear, as every thread of hope I had grasped slipped through my fingers like sand. The man's voice broke through again. We need to move. Now. I wanted to scream, to stay and defy the world, but I was thrust forward, dragged along with no say. Fate had twisted into something beyond my control, leaving behind the cavity of loss as I stumbled toward uncertain safety. Just as we reached a door marked with an imprint of an ancient symbol, a familiar chill swept through the air, stopping me cold. My heart dropped at the realization. Light from the cracks of the door illuminated an emblem that resonated with the love letters I had found, a cycle set to repeat itself unless I took action. In that moment, everything hung in vulnerability, teetering between hope and despair. I could either turn away and lose the memory of Lila forever, or step forward, confront whatever darkness awaited me, and topple the very structure of fate. The man cast a hesitant glance back at me. We're out of time. And with a final glance back into the shadows, I took a trembling step toward the door, caught between my destiny and the ghosts of past choices that now clung to me like chains. As I reached for the handle to open the door, the chilling resonance of Lilith's voice echoed in my mind, helped me, and I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was not simply walking into the unknown, but treading on the fabric that connected us all. The choice I made in that instant would shatter my world, revealing truths I was not prepared to face. The door creaked open, the sound echoing in the stillness, like a whisper lost amidst the heavy clouds of uncertainty. I paused, the chill emanating from beyond wrapping around my senses, snaking through the vulnerability that lingered in my chest. As my fingers brushed against the cold metal, I felt the weight of half-formed memories and unresolved words, the echoes of Lilith's voice mingling with the faint cries from the shadows left behind. Please, just come with me, the man urged, his grip firm on my arm but his eyes searching mine, as if hoping to find clarity in the chaos swirling around us. His concern felt like a lifeline while his anxiety threatened to pull me under. Do you think she's really gone? I whispered, torn between stepping forward into the unknown and longing to retreat into the remnants of love I hadn't fully understood. The man hesitated, the tension in his shoulders visibly tightening as if the weight of his unspoken fears pressed down on him too. She's not the same Lila you knew. You felt it, didn't you? Whatever darkness has claimed her is powerful and real, yeah, but I swallowed against an ache too deep for simple words. She still needs me. I can't just abandon her. Sometimes saving someone means saving yourself first, he said, a fierce intensity in his gaze. It was a different kind of pain he bore, one I felt flickering in the depths of my own heart. With my breath catching in my throat, I finally turned to face the door again. It stood defiantly before me, a threshold between what I had lost and a future burdened with uncertainty. My heart thudded as I glimpsed a flicker of light through the crack, something warm almost beckoning me to step through, to escape the grasp of despair that threatened to consume me. Don't let their shadows pull you back, let them be your motivation to fight, he said, as if reading my muddled thoughts. You're stronger than this darkness. Trust yourself. His words gave me a sliver of hope, and perhaps that was what I needed to trust, not just in my love for Lila but in the strength I had yet to unleash. I inhaled deeply, chest rising with determination, ready to embrace the unknown that awaited. Just as I stepped forward, the shadows convulsed viciously, wailing despair that clawed at my heart with a familiar sting. They stretched and twisted into figures, lost souls entwined in agony, faces I recognized from flickers of my dreams. Each one belonged to someone I'd once cherished, yet here they were, lost in the darkness. Help us, they whispered, voices intertwined in a chorus that beckoned with grief and anguish, revealing every regret I had ignored. Shut them out. The man barked, pulling me away just as I felt my resolve begin to crack under the weight of longing and guilt. They're nothing but illusions, are they? I shouted back, frustration boiling over. What if they're real? What if Lila is right there, drowning in the same horrors? Before he could respond, the shadows surged forward, the air thickening with their energy, drowning out the man's protests. I felt pain surge within, memory washing over me, grief intertwining with hope until it became unbearable. No! I cried, breaking free from the man's grasp to stand my ground. I won't let go of her. I won't let the darkness win. As I shouted into the cacophony, the shadows reverberated, quelling their howls momentarily. In that silence, I felt a flicker, a whisper of warmth radiating from deep within the depths of my heart. It surged with memories of laughter and promises, hazy yet vivid, lighting the darkness with tender shapes of who had once been. Lila, I murmured into the void. Wherever you are, whatever this is, I believe in you. I believe in us. And just like that, as if my words reached her in the abyss, I saw a flicker of light amidst the Shadowsa silhouette moving against the encroaching darkness. I squinted, heart racing as recognition slashed at the veil of despair. Don't make promises you can't keep. She called, voice wavering but full of fervor. If you truly believe in us, then you must face the truth. In that moment, the world spun once again, shadows pulling back as the brilliance enveloped me, revealing the paths obscured by fear and doubt. I was not simply chasing something or someone, I was walking a path toward self-discovery, understanding how deeply I yearned not just for Lila, but for clarity in this tangled web of fate. That I turned back to the man, and the resolve I felt pulsed between us. We need to confront it together. The darkness, it feeds off our fears, our secrets. If we face it, maybe we can find her. Maybe we can end this cycle. The man nodded slowly, belief igniting in the depths of his gaze. But just as I stepped closer to regain the path just revealed, a whisper drifted at the edge of my consciousness, soft yet potent, slipping through the intimacy and tearing away the protective layers wrapped around me. Remember the letters, they bind us all. Before I could react, before the abyss could swallow me whole, my vision danced into an array of chilling symbols, and panic surged within me. Those letters were not just confined to the past. They had woven the very fabric that connected us to the dark power breaking free, a darker truth interweaving into Lilith's fate. That in that moment of reckoning and defiance, a shocking flash ignited the room, a revelation so profound it forced my breath from my lungs. I glanced at the man beside me, my voice barely a whisper. What if they were meant to lead us here? What if, in exposing the darkness, we unknowingly became part of it? And just as understanding dawned, the ground beneath us trembled with fresh fury. A bolt of energy surged from the door, threatening to collapse the fragile hope that began to stitch together our fractured hearts. Run! I gasped, grasping his arm fiercely. We don't have much time. But as we tore through the threshold, I knew the truth was only beginning to unfold, revealing a path laden with choices that would test every thread of connection that still lingered in my heart. The pain that pushed through me felt sacred and terrifying, promising that our journey was far from over, even as echoes of the past followed close behind, whispering secrets that demanded to be unearthed. As the shadows writhed around us and the path transformed into an uncharted territory, I braced for the storm of revelations that awaited, terrified and yet undeniably drawn to the love letters that had set this all in motion. The moment we crossed the threshold, a strange stillness enveloped us, the chaos left behind fading like the last echoes of a thunderstorm. I blinked against the sudden brightness, my heart pounding a relentless rhythm as I absorbed the new surroundings. We stood in a vast library, shelves stretching endlessly in every direction, filled with books that seemed to breathe, their spines creaking softly like whispers in the wind. Where are we? I asked, a tremor in my voice. The Library of Shadows, the man replied, his voice low. A repository of every secret, every fear, and most importantly every love that has been lost or forgotten. The air hummed with the weight of countless stories, yet a chilling grip tightened around my heart, reminding me of the darkness that loomed just beyond our last step. This place was more than just an archive, it felt alive, as if the very essence of my anguish had taken form, wrapping around the truth I desperately sought. Instinctively, I moved toward the nearest shelf, the aged wood resonating with a warmth that contrasted sharply with my lingering dread. I drew out a book with a faded cover, the letters embossed in gold barely discernible. It felt familiar, and I realized with a jolt that it belonged to Lila, her cherished collection of love letters. "Don't," the man warned, stepping closer. "The books contain fragments of the past. Some truths are meant to stay buried," but I couldn't resist the pull of nostalgia intertwined with my grief. I opened the book, pages fluttering as if they were eager to reveal what lay within. Yellowed papers filled with graceful, looping script unfolded before me, carrying Lilith's voice, a voice mingled with laughter, heartache, and an undeniable yearning. Each letter was a thread back to her. They painted a tapestry woven with moments we had shared, and yet there was something darker underneath. Her words shifted as I read them, twisting from tender confessions into a haunting narrative of separation. With every turn of the page, I felt the shadows creep closer, an uncomfortable reminder that this library thrived on the very stories we had yet to face. As I read, the man's expression hardened, worry etched into the lines of his face. "Put it down. You don't understand the trap that I know her. I know Lila," I insisted, stubbornness budding like a thorn in my chest. "These letters hold answers I need. I have to know if we can salvage what we once had." Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the library, scattering papers across the floor as though the very essence of the stories within protested my intrusion. The candles lining the walls flickered violently, casting erratic shadows that danced with an ominous fervor. "Stop it!" I shouted, essence of lingering despair clawing at me, desperate to be acknowledged. "What is this place? Why does it feel like it knows me? Like it knows us?" Another letter flew from Lilith's book, landing at my feet with a thud. Curious, I knelt to retrieve it, inspecting the script. It was hastily written, the ink splotched in places as if rushed in urgency, revealing a side of her I hadn't known. "To the one I love, I feel the darkness closing in. I fear it may consume me. Trust in the truth we've shared." My heart raced as I read the scrawled message again, the weight of her fear wrapping around my soul like a heavy cloak. The deeper I ventured into the library, through every shadowed nook and cranny, the more I understood each letter was a confession of her struggles, entangled with the truth of her descent into darkness. "It's not just Lila," I murmured, piecing it together with each word I absorbed. "These documents, they bind us, but also they hold the very essence of the darkness we're fighting." "Exactly," the man sighed, worry deepening the furrows on his brow. "Every lost letter deepens our connection to the shadows. The more you read, the more power you give to their influence." Suddenly, the air thrummed with malevolent energy. The darkness I had felt lurking outside materialized within the library walls, coalescing into shapes that jeered and whispered cruel taunts as they hovered around us. I stumbled back, grasping the book tightly as panic surged through me. "You must let go of her past to save her," he urged, his voice rising above the cacophony of whispers. "We need to destroy the letters. It's the only way." But the thought of destroying her words, the last remnants of her spirit, crushed me under a torrent of uncertain grief. What if those letters were the key to understanding her plight? The weight of her fears mingled with my own, and I felt torn, suspended between hope and the dread of being left with nothing. "No," I gasped, clutching the book tighter, part of me unwilling to forsake the love captured in those pages. "I can't let them go. What if they're all she has left? What if they can lead us back to her?" Just then, shadows coiled tighter around us, pushing against the walls as if the library itself rallied against my defiance. I could hear Lilith's voice faintly over the clamor, a soft hiss woven with urgency. "Remember, the answers lie within the truths unspoken." With that, a book flew from the upper shelves, landing with a soft thud in front of me, its pages fanning open to reveal a new letter, one I had never seen. For some reason, I felt compelled to read it aloud, despite understanding the risk. "That I wrote this for you when the world grew dark," I began, the words spilling from my lips like a spell, each syllable resonating through the library as a spellbinding current. "You are my light, my anchor." Before I could finish, shadows erupted around me, writhing angrily as the air crackled with a tension that felt electric. The bookshelves creaked ominously, and I realized the very library was reacting to the awakening of hidden truths, each revelation stirring the essence of darkness that sought to extinguish hope. Run! My companion shouted, grabbing my arm. We have to get out of here. It's awakening something we cannot control, but as I turned to flee, I glimpsed the letter in my hand. A revelation hung in the balance, a spark of clarity just out of reach. The shadows wailed, closing in as I wrestled against their grip, heart torn between the precious words I'd clutched and the encroaching danger that promised to consume everything. Then, like a sigh slipping through the cracks of reality, I heard Lilith's voice once more, stronger than before, reaching through the darkness with a chilling command. Don't let go of the truth or you'll lose me forever. In that instant, everything shifted, turmoil unraveling as I faced the depths of uncertainty once more. Could I hold on to her essence while confronting the darkness threatening to strip me of everything dear? The weight of the letters felt all-consuming, and as I hesitated, a new wave of shadows surged forth, threatening to snuff out the last flicker of light. Before I could comprehend the magnitude of what I had unleashed, a portal of swirling darkness opened wide in front of me, drawing closer at an alarming rate. You must choose. The man cried out, desperation etched into his features. In a fleeting moment, with echoes of love and loss cascading around me, I felt the ground fall away beneath my feet. The library spun in a maelstrom of shadow and revelation, and I was left to confront the ultimate truth of our connection, the heart of the darkness that threatened to engulf us both. And as I teetered on the edge of the abyss, I realized this journey wasn't just about finding Lila, it was about uncovering who I was willing to become to save her. And the answers I sought were not merely in the letters themselves but in every choice that lay ahead, each heartbreaking revelation unraveling the depths of my resolve. I fell into the abyss of swirling darkness, my heart pounding like a drum echoing through the vast expanse of the unknown. In the chaos, I had a momentary flash of Clarissa, visceral reminder of Lilith's laughter, of our whispered dreams painted against the midnight sky. What lay ahead was a terrifying unknown, yet each thought of her felt like a lifeline pulling me back towards hope. With a surge of adrenaline, I reached deep within myself and grasped the falling letters tightly against my chest. I choose Lila. I shouted into the swirling void, as if my voice could wield enough power to weave reality back into place. I felt a tug against the shadows, against the very fabric of this library that held the memories of our past, and then, there was a burst of light that I found myself standing in a shadow-strewn alcove, the library still humming with secrets but now alive with a strange, hopeful energy. The letters lay scattered around me, but I could feel a warmth pulsing from the one I held close. This was not just a relic of Lilith's past, it was the essence of her spirit woven into every word she had ever penned in the dark, an embodiment of her love fighting against the shadows that sought to overwhelm it. Where are you? I whispered, clutching the book tighter, not daring to let any hint of my despair show. The library had shifted, the atmosphere charged with a palpably hopeful breeze that caressed my skin, propelling me forward. Please show me the way. As if in response to my plea, the air shimmered and revealed a new path, lit by a flickering lantern that seemed to shimmer with possibilities. I followed instinctively, my heart thrumming louder than the shadows that flitted behind me like ghosts trying to hold me back. Every step felt like a painful reminder of what I had already lost, yet it also bloomed with the potential of what could still be found. The lantern illuminated visions, flashes of Lila through the years, laughing at our favorite cafe, tracing her fingers through my hair while we soaked in the beauty of a sunset. In fleeting moments, I could feel her essence brush against me, a whisper of encouragement urging me to move beyond the weight of loss and into the possibility of reconciliation. Suddenly, I halted, my blood running cold as I stumbled across an unexpected sight, a room encased within glass, filled with letters like mine, but distinctly darker. A chilling aura bled from the walls, and the words inscribed on those pages wriggled as if alive, tormenting each other in an odyssey of despair. I stepped closer, heart racing as I peered through the glass. Each letter unveiled a story of broken relationships, betrayal, and fears given voice, wounds that festered silently in the darkness. Then, a singular phrase called out to me, echoing like a siren through the emptiness. To truly be loved is to scar the world with your presence, no matter how destructive that love may become. The truth struck me hard. Lila hadn't just fought against the darkness for herself, she had fought for the love we had shared. These letters were not merely pieces of her past but fragments of the darkness I had to confront if I were ever to bring her back. Lila, I breathed her name, clawing at my heart as sadness twisted within me. What sacrifices did you make in my name? With this thought weaving into a tangled mass of rage and determination, I knew I had to confront not only the external shadows lurking in the library but the shadows that existed within me. The shadows of doubt, of insecurity, of questions about whether I truly deserved Lila's love amid the chaos of our lives, but just as determination flared to life, I felt a presence creeping up behind me, cold and malicious. A shadow, thick and consuming, stretched out from the walls, creeping closer until it settled upon my shoulder. It whispered doubts, tempting voices slithering into my thoughts. You will never find her. You are not strong enough to face what she has become. Bracing myself, I summoned every ounce of courage I could muster. You will not define me, I cried out, feeling the words vibrate through me, the truth spilling from my core. Lila's love is greater than your darkness. With that declaration, I felt a surge as the lantern blazed with newfound intensity, illuminating the sights and sounds of hundreds of memories shimmering just beyond the glass. I could see laughter and joy mingling with regret and sorrow, a reminder that love was not without complications but emerged victorious through every challenge faced. My heart raced, spinning in persistent circles between fear and hope, yet warmth surged through me. Then I saw her. Lila stood amidst the shadows, blurring in and out of focus, her expression a mix of yearning and fear. You must take the leap, she whispered, voice like a fragile feather carried by the wind. Trust the truth, even when it hurts. In that moment, everything shifted again. Her silhouette shuddered, flickering like a candle fighting against the storm, and I felt the urgent pulse of desperation clawing at the air. She was slipping, caught somewhere between light and dark. The shadows recoiled, sensing the strength of my resolve. But just as I reached out to grasp the barrier separating us, a profound sense of dread grasped my heart. Do not chase her, the collective shadows hissed, their voices weaving a dissonant tapestry of torment. For every step you take towards her light, you pull darkness into your own heart. I hesitated, the weight of their words pulling back as I realized the truth of what lay ahead. Could I forsake everything I feared, risk everything I understood about love, to embrace the hope that still shimmered in the depths of uncertainty? Choose wisely, for once you step forward, there may be no turning back, the shadows whispered, my heart caught in an agonizing vice as I battled against their pull. In that fractured moment, I understood the stakes were nothing short of life and death, both for Lila and the love I still clung to. With my spirit trembling at the brink, time paused, and the air caved inwards. The library breathed an uneasy sigh, holding its collective breaths in anticipation, waiting for the final moment of clarity to emerge from the turmoil. And as I reached for the barrier, a fractured vision flashed before my eyes, a moment yet to come, swirling with the weight of inexplicable loss and empowerment, as two souls wrestled against the impending darkness together. It felt both familiar and foreign, bursting with uncertainty while laced with an undeniable pull towards love, daring me to finally face the shadows that lingered within. But could I dare to leap? In that room covered with glass, suspended between memory and chaos, my heart raced wildly within my chest. The shadows whispered their doubts, but Lila's voice cut through the noise. It ignited a flicker of fierce hope, urging me forward despite the heaviness clawing at my feet. Do not chase her, the shadows warned, but I couldn't just stand there, stuck in a spiral of fear. I had come too far, faced too much, cradled too many dreams colored with Lila's essence. Lila, I captured the breath of her presence, the vibrations weaving through me like a soothing balm. I had to trust in the strength of our bond. The love letters were more than mere words, they encapsulated the very essence of our history, a tale written in the heartbeat of moments shared and promises forged in the quiet corners of life. I stepped toward the barrier cautiously, both longing and fear swirled within me like a tempest. You're right, I whispered to the shadows, breathing heavily. Every step I take could pull darkness into my heart. But I have to believe that our love can withstand even the harshest storms. I could feel the warmth of my memories clinging to me like a second skin. They buoyed me, reminding me of who I was, the very person Lila fell for. I pressed onward, determination flooding me with lifeblood, forward into that swirling fog of shadows. If it's darkness that binds us, then I will embrace it. I will carry both the anguish and light within me, for they are intertwined. With a resolute heart, I took the final step. As my palm pressed against the glass, an electric charge arced through me, the shadows recoiling as if stung. Lila's silhouette materialized before me, her expression brightening even in the chaos that surrounded her. Help me, her voice resonated, breaking past layers of uncertainty as her real self surged through, splintering apart the dark veil that linked her to this tortured realm that I will. I replied, channeling every ounce of belief surging through me. I believe in us, no matter what this darkness throws our way. Suddenly, the silhouettes around Lila began to shift, revealing faces I once knew, their hollow expressions contorted. They pulled against the glass. Their whispers became urgent, frantic. Join us. Leave behind love, find solace in despair. It's easier. Safer. No. I shouted defiantly, closing my eyes for a moment, feeling beyond the shadows. It was Lilith's voice that guided me. I will not forsake love. Love is not a curse. It is my strength. Lilith's figure shimmered, fractured yet steadfast, each heartbeat igniting the electric air that hummed between us. It is your choice to make, she rose resolutely, the pulsating tether between our souls connecting us stronger amid the chaos. Together, we can reclaim what has been stolen from us. Then, just as I felt the barrier give way, the glass shattering into a million glimmering shards, a powerful gust erupted, rushing forth with a blinding light that washed over me, refracting colors like cascading rainbows. The shadows faltered, wavering like smoke as the warmth enveloped me, and I lunged forward with one final desperate push against fear, against darkness, against the past. And in an exhilarating heartbeat, I crossed the threshold. Light poured over me like the dawn after a storm, illuminating the twisted landscape of the library and washing away the oppressive remnants of shadows. I gasped in disbelief. Lila stood there on the other side, her arms extended, pulling me closer into the glow. We collapsed together, a tapestry woven from regrets, love letters, and battle scars, the echoes of our past combining into something extraordinary, a love reborn from intimacy, woven with the threads of shadows we had confronted together. "I'm here," I murmured, breathing in the scent of damp books and ink, the very soul of the library encasing us gently. Her fingers twined with mine, and I could feel a lightness resettling between us, banishing the darkness that had encroached for so long. But then a heavy silence fell, thick with realization. Fear swallowed back for the moment, my gaze flicked to the letters cast aside. Would this be enough to keep the shadows at bay, sealed by the knowledge we'd gained through love? In that silence, the shadows writhing at the edges seemed to take form one final time, but this time I stood resolute, holding Lila tightly. She shook her head as if reading my unspoken thoughts. They may always linger, but we have a choice. Well, keep fighting, I said with newfound strength, squeezing her fingers. As long as we have each other, we can guard the memories, write new letters if we must, and never let darkness win. Together, we faced the remnants of the library, the shelves holding tales, betrayal, and love, their significance deconstructed through our resonance. And I understood then, as we began to move forward, every story, every emotion deserves to be embraced and learned from, and every choice we made could light a way through the darkness. As we stepped further into the sprawling library together, I felt the weight of every love letter whisper around us, but this time they sang of resilience, forgiveness, and acceptance. Our journey had finally come full circle, illuminating a new chapter yet to be written, a love refined in the fire of trials and triumphs. And with the warmth of Lila's presence beside me, I realized with a bittersweet pang that the truest lesson became our bond, a promise that love could rise, reshape, and triumph, for love was not solely a reckoning of the past, but a daring journey into the light of tomorrow. Let's write our story, I breathed, one letter at a time. And in that smile shared, amidst the overwhelming embrace of both the familiar and the unknown, we began crafting the tale of our love anew, pens held tightly ready to face whatever the world might send our way.